Look at you go.
That's my super effort for today.
That's pretty good. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Social Butterfly. If you can see, we're not having any tech issues whatsoever, but we're just going to keep going ahead. Michael still dances in. We've had a couple of weeks off, so I'll talk to that in 1 second. But first off, welcome to the Social Butterfly, where Michael Clift, my business coach from Venture Cultivation and Coaching, and I from Butterfly Media go live every week, generally, talking about all things around business, from starting it up to putting some systems in place, perhaps hiring, product development, marketing, socials, selling, and pretty much everything in between. I've been doing it for a little while. Michael's been doing it for a little while. We've sort of gone through a few rough patches with business, as you do. It's never a straight road. In fact, it virtually guarantees you have a heartbeat if you can handle going in business. And so what we do is catch up weekly on the Social Butterfly, talking about all of those sorts of things so that we can help you guys grow. It's a really good conversation. Hi, Michael. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
Still fantastic.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining me today. We didn't make it last week. It was just one of those things in life. Sometimes you can't just always get there, but we manage, or we try to always come whenever we say we will. But apologies, we didn't arrive last week. So what we thought we might do is talk about what we were going to, which was just a follow-up and a conversation around what happens at and after in-person and event marketing and how we can make the most of it. Sound like a good idea, Michael?
Oh, always.
All right. So, yeah, as I said, we may be having some technical difficulties, so we are just going to go as far as we can before the internet plays ball. It seems to be doing it right now.
Yes.
So, in person, Michael?
I was just going to say, who knows?
In the way it's sort of going, as we were saying just before we jumped on, I thought today was Wednesday, and I also thought it was the 7th of June. So that's where we're at. It's just and that right now.
I've had COVID for over a week now, and I'm feeling better, but it's been a rough week. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, you have had a rough week. So yeah, that's what happens when you go to in-person marketing.
Yeah. We share the love.
Yeah. All right. So 2 weeks ago, we were in Perth. You and I were in Cairns. You and I met for the first time in person, which was great after hanging out with each other online since August last year. So that was super cool. We went for the BNI National Conference up in Cairns, where we got to hang out with 300 other business owners in person that some of us connect with, some of us don't know. We met a lot of people for the first time. We caught up with people that we hadn't. It was incredible. We actually ran the Social Butterfly from there. But let's talk about why we might do it. And there were some really cool conversations around it, what we got out of it and how to follow up, Michael. So first question for you is, why did you do it? Why did you travel all the way from Perth to Cairns?
That's a good question. Well, firstly, my business it operates internationally, but it does operate at a national level. So if you are part of a networking group or something to that effect and you can operate nationally, you want to go to the national events, because all the people that go to those national events are I don't want to say the cream of the crop, but they are the people that are very eager to grow their businesses, very keen to make the connections, very keen to get out there and work with other people to grow. So I went there to meet more like-minded people that I can potentially grow businesses with.
It's a long way.
Right? Oh, yeah. It is a long way. On the way home, it was 8 hours of flights.
Yeah. And on the way over, you did the red eye, which felt like 10,000 hours of flights.
Yeah, it did. Gratefully, the hotel I was staying at, I was able to chat to them, and they got me in early, and I was able to go collapse in the room for a few hours before we got to it.
I'm traveling over to Perth soon, and I was actually offered the red eye on the way home, and I said, no, this girl's way too old for that now.
Yeah.
I just can't do it, right? Even for a couple $100. Right? It's just, All right, so all the way to Cairns to hang out with people at a national level. And you're right, the people that go to something like that are playing at a different level. We pay memberships to be a part of this particular group. But any group that's going to travel a fair way to be a part of something is not so much as a byproduct, but is, really interested in doing things at the next level. And that's what we found when we were there. There's some incredible humans there doing some amazing things, and very excited about being there to network and communicate with each other in that space. How did you go, Michael? Did you meet some really cool people? What was some of the types of people you met and the highlights you met through meeting?
Yeah, well, from my perspective, I met a ton of really cool people and people that I'd met like yourself previously online that I have varying different relationships with that they're in another state and like we it was a great like all of us converged in the same spot. So it was a really great opportunity to meet with some of these people and have some in-person like conversations because like, online and in person are very different, and so that was really great. Uh, I met a lot of people who I don't want to sound like super clinical about it, but like I can plug into different elements of the business. Like a couple of the keynote speakers that were there, I'm actually talking about. You're coming over for the events that I'm running for the next 6 months. A couple of those guys are potentially going to be speaking at those events now. I've uh, for transparency, I think I've got like 8 or 9 sales calls. I've already had 5 or 6. Like there was a lot of different things that were going on. Some really cool people. I actually met people from Perth that I've never met before that were really cool and great people. And now I've expanded my network here as well. Um, the I think the key takeaway for me is because sometimes when we're stuck in our own little world, we're like, oh, I'm not like I feel like I'm not behind a door that I should be behind, and then you go roll and then you meet a whole heap of people that are feeling the same, and like, hang on, we've just opened another door.
So true. That's so true. When I was sort of looking at some of the notes that I've made here about why I went, it was literally like you're locked in your own little room thinking that you're doing so far with your business, as in, you're not far enough, or you haven't got all the right answers, or, what else do you need to know? And you get into a room full of other people that are, at the same stage as you, ahead of you, and you're like, oh, I'm not the only one. Everyone's in here, doing the same thing, and it's just so magical to speak to other people, in real time around what's going on for them. So yeah, that was incredible. And then literally meeting people that are in your own state that you haven't met in real life yet. And WA is a big place, right? It's not a little state.
You know, the silliest thing is like I'm like, oh, they're not that far away from me, but like our city in WA, because we're so spread out, like the actual like if we could talk the Perth area, if you want to drive from like technically one end to the other end, it takes you, 2.5, 3 hours to go from end to end. And we're not like we don't have the population that other people have, kind of thing. So it's a bit bizarre sometimes when like you go over east, which is 8 hours of flights to get to a place, and you meet someone that's like not even an hour away from you.
Yeah, right. It's a small world.
Yeah,
Yeah. So tell me some of the highlights. There were some amazing speakers that you said that you've popped now into your network. So talk to me about some of the speakers that you enjoyed.
yeah. So highlights. I think doing our live podcast from there, we've got to tidy up the sound a little bit, but like it was really great to have some other people come and hop on and have a chat with us and talk about what they were doing there, and the before and after conversations that we had with them were really cool. So met the guys that run the Australian BNI podcast, which was really interesting and very cool. Till I
We nearly
think,
got them on our show. And
yeah, yeah, we did. They got caught up with something, so I'm just in the process of talking to them now to see what we can do. Um, I also I think like I'm having conversations with almost every single keynote speaker now, which is a really cool experience as well. So
including McChesney.
no, not including Chris. Like this is going to be a little bit controversial, but he was the key keynote speaker, and he was the one that I took the least away from.
Yeah.
But I live in that world. That's what I do every day. That's all the things. So like for me, that wasn't as exciting as it may have been for some other people. Whereas um, someone like let's go and talk about Cindy for a second, where she was up there and she was really talking about like she just dropped a one liner, and Like, this is stuff that I know, but just watching the impact that it had on the room, where she just goes, okay, like, write down the thing that you can't do right now that will change your life. And then she goes, remove the apostrophe and the T. Like, that was like, and I was just watching people and I was like, yeah, wow. Because that is all stuff that I'm working on, right? And I'm not trying to big note myself, but that's stuff that I'm doing. But then to watch the impact that that one line had on people was really inspiring.
Oh,
And like that was when we were like turning to each other, because we were sitting next to each other going, okay, cool, we need to be on that stage next year. Like, and that's what, like, that's what we were talking about, right? Because what inspired me about it is I'm like, I have so much stuff that I could help people with quite easily. And like, I've run workshops, I've talked in front of hundreds of people before. So it's not like it's any different. So I was sort of challenging myself, going, why aren't you out there doing the thing as well? Um, and the other one for the day that was like a real standout for me was Di from Die Live at the end, because she was the last speaker for the day. And that's a hard gig because not everyone stayed to the end. So there was like, we had to move people forward to try and fill it up a bit more. And people after lunch were off, like, not everyone stayed for that speaker and they're off networking and stuff like that. And she just walked out and she absolutely crushed it. And she had everyone like super pumped up, ready to go. And that was very impressive. And her just sharing her story
Mm.
and the message around, yeah, just life. And what do you want? Okay, what's stopping you? Go get it.
Yeah, and it's just how she transformed her world after something that was pretty incredible happened to her, and she's like, "Okay, I don't want it to be like this. What do you want?" And then off she went and made a
Oh yeah,
life she wanted, right?
it's the kind of thing that would cripple most people. Like, and I don't want to say justifiably so, but like, you wouldn't sit there having a go at someone for making excuses if they decided not to move forward and do anything because of that, because it is challenging. Um, so yeah, that was is very inspiring.
So from going to from the consideration of should I go to something like this, right? So sitting home, the tickets come out, and you're like, God, should I fly across the country to something like this? To meeting a heap of incredible people, being blown away by two speakers, right? So straight away, like I had breakthroughs from Cindy. Straight away, I'm still working through one that can't break through. That is still, I had a big block that I felt like was stopping me from doing almost anything that I really wanted to do moving forward. I kept thinking I'd got over it, right? Or I kept
Yeah,
thinking I had to do more work to get over it. It was just this ball and chain, right? And when I wrote down the sentence and took it from can't, so I can't do my future because of this thing, right? To I can do it because of this thing, and it's more because of my sentence was I can't do my future because of the pain and the suffering of this thing has taught me, right? And so I couldn't move forward because I didn't want to have that pain and suffering again, right? So then I go, I can do my future because of the lessons of this pain and suffering has completely blown my mind. So I can take that pain and alchemize it and turn it into a can. So because it's just, I'm still sitting with it. It's a complete game changer, right?
yeah,
This ball and chain has now become a thank you rather than a hindrance. It's like, thank
yeah,
you for letting me have
yeah.
that.
We need to get Cindy on here.
Yeah.
I'm organizing a catch up with her. Um, Maybe we'll just tag her in and say, "Hey, Cindy, we were talking about you. You need to be on here." Um,
That'd be great.
Yeah, if you're listening, Cindy, you need to be on here talking to us. And yeah, that was it was really good. And like, obviously, like we've talked about that quite a few times since, because it's like, okay, cool, let's make sure all the business stuff we're building lines in with that. Um, I think the
Yeah.
thing that probably doesn't, like, gets underestimated in something like this is just the little moments, like at breakfast, the short, like, 15-minute conversations I had with a whole heap of different people. Like, I stayed specifically at the hotel where the event was. And if I wasn't doing something, I was just hanging out in the lobby and going, hey, and just talking to people. And like, to kick it off, and this is how I actually met someone from WA, is in the elevator, like, excuse me, walked in at the same time as what I did. And I was like, hey, what brings you to Cairns? Oh, I'm here for the BNI conference. Hey, me too. Where are you from? Perth. No.
See, all
So,
BNI members have something in common.
yeah. So I like, and that just made me every time someone was in the elevator, just I asked the question. And to be fair, I only had that happen another 2 times, and there was a few elevator conversations. But like, I found out there was like a mango conference on there. There was some people that were there for their 50th wedding anniversary, like all sorts of stuff that was happening, which is really cool. And also, like, we went out with a few people a couple of times for the for like lunches and dinners, and like those conversations were invaluable. And I know that you've picked up a few clients from doing that as well. And like, we obviously, you're a client and I had mutual clients there as well, so that's by doing that, suddenly we were having those conversations. We had like our little entourages there as well, for want of a better term. And we were picking up clients, not even intentionally. We were just out there to meet people, but we're just right place, right time, having good conversations in a space where people are looking to grow.
Very much so. I went there because I was going to meet a whole heap of Perth people that I'd met online, or catch up with the guys that I'd met last year. You okay there?
Yeah.
More water. Yeah, so catch up with the guys that I met in Perth last year, and then all the new guys in real life, and then catch up with all the New South Wales people that I know across the state here that I haven't seen in person for ages. And then it was like, okay, who else? Who else could we possibly meet, right? So that's what happened. It was fantastic. Our podcast, we had 4 or 5 people come through to talk on that day, which was incredible.
4 people that weren't us, I think. Let's call it 4.
Let's call it 4.
Yeah.
So Di, one of the speakers, was one of the people that we met, plus a couple of people. So that was fantastic. And as you say, the BNI podcasters nearly came on, but they were too busy. So that would have been funny, because our definitions of podcasts are probably wildly different.
Yeah, ours is a bit more ad hoc and a bit more like we're doing it live and we're talking, and theirs is a bit more structured because it's targeted to BNI and how people can get the most out of their memberships and sharing the stories. It's a really good podcast for anyone that's a part of BNI, or even if you're interested in BNI and you want to go listen to that podcast, you can, because there's a lot of good stuff in there. So
Your story is the most valuable thing you own, right? And so they do really well in telling it.
Yeah. Also, I'm not affiliated with that at all, by the way. That's just off the back of I enjoy it. So
yeah, totally. None of us are, right? We're members, but we're just talking about how it goes. So of that, then there was lots of dinners, which were great. I must admit, I thought I was fit until I had to walk from motel room to the event all the time, and it was back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, Betty's letting the tide down. I thought we were fitter than this, Betty, my dog, who we have to walk every morning. So she and I have had an overhaul. Now the walk's got a little bit longer in the morning, because that was like full on, just walking backwards and forwards to get things.
Did you maybe get lost at all?
Oh, there was that too. Like, who could read a map, right? All you need to do is go around the corner. I went every other way, right? Everyone knows girls can't read maps.
Yeah, sure you can't. I actually walked around Cairns at because I was trying to get some exercise in as well. I was supposed to be doing the F45 challenge, and it started the week that we were in Cairns.
Yeah, perfect.
So I was like, okay, I've got to do some exercise at least. So I was doing some walking around Cairns, and it was generally early to later evening. And geez, it's an incredible place. Like, not what I expected at all. And I didn't have many preconceptions, but you fly in, there's mountains all around, it's tropical rainforest, and like it's at nighttime they've got lights everywhere. It is a tourist destination, but geez, they've done an interesting job with it. And like, it was very impressive. And just walking along the little pier area where all the restaurants are and looking out and stuff is like, I was like, this is awesome. And can't wait to take the family there is probably the other thing that I would say.
Yeah, nice. It is a beautiful spot. It's stunning. It's stunning. But let's get back to, just want to sort of follow up and finish up the benefits and how people can get the most out of doing in-person marketing like this. So obviously there's a massive in-person connection, which is a faster way than online connections to build rapport super quick, right? So that's a huge benefit of it. It's the meeting of everybody. There's a lot of energy going on in those 2 or 3 days. We all went out for dinner on the Friday night, and we mixed all the states together, which was great. It was so cool just to hang out with everybody on a big long table and just chat. We were pretty tired by then, but everyone was still firing up and talking and learning about each other. Business cards were passed or phones were tapped and all the details were passed on. So all that energy is there, right? And then we leave and the event's over. What happens after that, Michael? What's the best way to use all of the energy and the momentum that happens in a place like that?
Can we come back to that in 2 seconds?
Yep.
Okay. The reason why is I just want to say, if you're going into a space like that and you're meeting a whole heap of people, like, the ideal is not, here's my business card, here's my business card, here's my business card. And that's not what you were talking about, but I just want to clarify that, because you see people that go to those things and they're just trying to chuck business cards at everyone, and not ill-intended, but they're just trying to get in front of people. What I would encourage anyone, if they want to get the most out of something like that, is go be curious, ask a lot of questions about them. And even if they don't talk too much about you, if you go and you help them with ideally a problem or a connection that solves a problem for that person, they're going to remember you and they'll reach out and get back in contact. And I have had 3 or 4 people do that specifically, where they barely knew a thing about what I did. They just knew that I solved a problem and I was walking around with a red hat on, and they come and found me. And then they're like, hey, I actually really need to talk to you. So
that hat did all right.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, I think didn't it get tried on a couple of times?
What do you mean try it on? No, only clients get to put the hat on.
I know, but
No,
didn't they try it? That's what I mean. Didn't they try it on?
no.
They did? I'm sure a couple people said, can I have a hat? Can I try it on?
Did they ask? Yeah, absolutely. There was people that are asking, but they don't get to.
Yeah, that's client only. You got to earn that thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So then,
okay, to answer your question, then the first question, which was that, what do we do afterwards? How we building out those connections? So for transparency, I've had COVID, so I haven't done all of this yet, and I'm still in the process of following up with people, so that I'm not just going, yeah, I've done all this, because I'm a little bit behind. This is what I'm in the process of doing or have done, to clarify. Okay, so basically, I wanted to get as many connections as possible so I can go and talk to people. So when I was at the event, I didn't even take a business card. I was just like, let's add you on LinkedIn. 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 And the reason why is part of my routine is to go to all the people that have connected me on LinkedIn and go send them a message. So that is they have just come into my routine. So what I would say, that's all well and good for me. Not everyone has that. I would encourage you to, in the next couple of days after the event, make sure that you reach out to people, whether it's just a short message, it's an email, whatever that is, just saying, hey, great to meet you in the event. I'd love to talk to you more about what you do. Let's catch up. However you want to, whether you want to get them 15, whether you want to get them for an hour. For most people, it's just touching base, right? And then after you've sent that, in the next week or 2, I would then encourage you to, if you haven't already booked something or done the thing, because a lot of people are going to be busy, they're coming back, they're catching up with their business, they have COVID. Half the people I spoke to had COVID afterwards as well. So some of the people affectionately in my BNI chapter have been calling it COVID con. So, which amuses me, but from that respect, it's reaching out again in the next, 2 weeks, let's call it, so that you're continuing to build on that relationship. Now, if you said that you're going to connect them to someone, make sure you do that. So for the most part, that is the first thing that I've done with everyone. I've got a couple of people left to do it with. I've actually got and Cindy's one of them, 7 or 8 people at the minute that I've actually got to send booking links through so we can book in to have our next conversation. So make sure you're following up with that. And then when you talk to them, it's, how can I help you? How are we building this relationship? What are we doing so that you can solidify that in person to where they are now? Now, if we wanted to tie social media into that, because we talk about social media here, get them onto your social media accounts. Because in between the time that you catch up with them, if you're posting regularly, they're just going to see more and more of you. And they can go and check your about sections in your profile, and they can scroll through some of your posts, and if you've got like pin posts at the top about what you do and stuff like that, they're going to get a good handle on what you do. I actually had a one-to-one with, which is, for anyone that's not aware, is it's a BNI term where we meet one-to-one and we go through some specific areas on how we can help each other build business. And I had one with Carmel Brown, and I hope I said her name right now. Um, and I met her. She's someone I need to introduce you to. I didn't actually meet her at the conference, but we were hoping to meet at the conference. So we connected the week after the conference, and I got so much out of that straight away. And having her on social media and seeing all the stuff that she does. And she actually, before we met, she sent me like just this snapshot of all the things that they do and who they help and what that looks like. And it's a very quick way to build rapport because you know what people are about.
Nothing like a good social media account to really seal the deal, hey? Right?
Well, one of the speakers pointed this out, and I want to put a challenge out there. And look, this is on LinkedIn and Facebook that it's going out right now. But all of you that are on Facebook that don't look after your LinkedIn account, if you're a business owner, especially if you're out networking in person, it's time to go set up your LinkedIn account, because um, when people are out there looking in the business space, they will go and check you out on LinkedIn. And if you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing an opportunity to showcase what you do. You're also missing the opportunity to further build out that relationship. And there's also a little bit of validation there that you are missing out on as to like how serious is this person about business if they're not in the biggest business networking space in the world right now,
Yeah, totally.
online.
Totally. And it's one of the best places to talk shop. People are open to it. Like, woof, you
Yeah.
got one of my favorite topic. So we'll definitely play with that. But yeah, social media accounts, this is the power of them, right? So they're a moving business card, for want of a better word. They're a moving document, they're alive, and they share you all the time and just help people connect with you so quickly, particularly from the in real world space. People will binge on you, and this is the power of the internet nowadays. So you could say hi, and then people get to learn more about you over time, like you said, through your social media. I love this. So we leave the comfort of our lounge. We go to national events, wondering how it's going to go, end up meeting incredible people, having incredible experiences, listening to very talented public speakers or speakers on their topic that have got some amazing inspirational stories and knowledge around what they do. Fully catered for, great, beautiful venues, and then it's all the outside networking that happens as well. So that's a cool event, right? Then when we come out of it, as you say, we could have some leads or clients out of it, which is ultimately, it can be an aim or a peripheral aim. But as we've discussed, a good aim is to network, get to know people, and think the long game. Like, I've connected with a few people that maybe not right now, but if we keep talking over time as both businesses develop, maybe later, and could even be up to 12 months when we meet again in person, it'd be probably good to rekindle some conversations. And in that time, we can use our online space to keep getting to know each other. So it's not always now. And business is about relationships. So the more time we spend with people, the better it is. So I had an incredible time. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
going to say
Oh, I just wanted to touch on with it. And we just like, people forget that the first time you meet someone is, as a general rule, is not when they buy. Like,
yeah.
in fact, like it's, unless someone is like prepped, ready to go, and you're like really to the point and talk straight to their pain point right then and there, that person percentage wise is generally in the 1 to 3% of people ready to go. Everyone else, in a general marketing term, needs 20 plus touch points. Now you can shorten that, but as a general rule, it's 20 plus touch points. So if you're going to something like that, it's great if you get business. And like me saying that I've got sales calls, that sales call doesn't even mean the first go. That's more about identifying, okay, are we good fit? Where are you at? What are your needs? What is like, and if people aren't ready, that's okay. It's just getting them into the pipeline, and it's more focused on helping people as well as probably the other thing. Because if if someone comes to me and I go, hey, you don't actually need me right now, or this isn't the right fit, but hey, go to Katrina, because if you get those, 8 clients in 90 days, you're gonna that's just gonna change everything for you, and then maybe we should talk.
Then they'll need you.
Yeah.
Then they need to like serve them.
Yeah. So um you're right, it's not just about like how many people can we get business from, but it's genuine open conversations, because people just don't have enough conversations. They just
Yeah.
don't. And that's anyone that's got a lead problem doesn't have, I could almost go and look at it, and nearly every single time I go, okay, cool, how many people have you spoken to today? And they're usually like, oh, and I'm like, cool, how many people have you spoken to this week? And generally the answer is one or two, if that.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people we spoke to at the conference in a day? Like I would have at
Hell yeah.
least spoken to like 80 people in one day, and that's not including the other days that we were there as well. And the people struggling have spoke to one or two people in a week.
My God, is that why I was tired?
Yeah, yeah,
It's all right.
because you're trying to juggle all the conversations and remember all the conversations. And we're talking right now, and I'm like, oh, I remember when we were off to the side and we were talking to your friend from over your neck of the woods, as well as a couple of the other guys from WA, and I was like, oh, I forgot about that conversation.
Yeah, there's
I'm gonna
heaps,
go
right?
follow up on that. Yeah,
Yeah, and we were able to introduce people to each other because of just being in different states that we'd spoken about for a while. But it was funny. I made a post yesterday about selling into warm markets, or the fact that people trying to sell products before they're or once they're ready, they'll take product to market and then go, okay, now I'll sell it. And I'm saying start selling it before it's ready, because no one's going to buy it when you're ready, right? They're going to buy it when they're ready. And if you start talking about it now, when you do launch it, people will be ready for it, because they'll hear it coming. And the reason I bring it up is it's like no one is going to buy anything cold unless it's an emergency, and then they don't care, right? And then they'll throw money at it. So if the thing that you're selling is going to save my life and I'm dying right now, I will throw money at you. I don't care who you are. It's completely cold. I just need the thing, right? But I already know that it exists. So there's even still an element of familiarity that doesn't come unless you're out having more conversations, right? So there isn't really anything in the market that sells cold except ice cream. But even then,
there always has to be one. There always has to be one.
we beaches.
Yeah.
But
Um,
even ice cream is taste tested before it's launched, right? I reckon even vanilla would have been tested to see if it would fly.
the way that I think about that is, and this comes from like hard learnt experience. Like, sorry, hang on, excuse me. I have spent hundreds of hours building stuff when I knew better, but it was just because, for whatever reason at the time, I really decided that I needed to build out this thing, and I'd convinced myself that that's what needed to do. When I not even should, when I knew better, but I was still building it out. And it's so different just being able to put something out there and let the market decide whether it's for them or not. Because just because it can help someone, and look, there's people that are in my sphere right now that are not working with me, that talk about problems that are in their business day in, day out, that I can fix. And if they gave me 90 days, it's completely gone. No problems.
Yeah.
And I know that, confidently know that, to the point that my clients also know that and have mentioned it to those people. And they're not ready, right? So if you're that confident that you can do the thing, you still don't just get to go and try and sell it and I wouldn't encourage anyone to build it. I would say put it out to the market and let them decide whether they want it or not. Because sometimes it's just that you might call it the wrong thing, so it
Yeah.
doesn't align to them. But let's not do hundreds of hours until we know people want to buy that thing.
This is a conversation for another podcast for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
I know we have spoken about build it and they will come conversations, and we're sort of leaning into that. But we can lean into how to understand what the market wants before we build things on another podcast. But let's wrap up. Today's around in-person and event marketing and how to get the most out of it. So it's obviously network like crazy. Talk to as many people as you can. Listen. It's market research the whole time, right? On steroids. Understand that you are part of a bigger community. And that you can help people, which is super cool. And then, get everybody on your socials so that you can hang out there more often after you meet them. And then look to possibly meet up with them maybe a week or 2 weeks later, either on Zoom or in person if it works, just to solidify that relationship if it was going somewhere. And then periodically keep that going until, it gets into something if it's going to, or if you can hear off each other. If you can help each other's clients or each other's worlds, just, build relationships. So on that, Michael, Cairns BNI, or the BNI National Conference is going to be in Brisbane next year. Will I see you there?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I said it before. I'm going to apply to be one of the speakers. Don't know if I'll get through, but that's ideally you'll see me out and about, but ideally I'll be on the stage as well if I can.
That sounds good. We did put that down, didn't we? That we're both going to try to get on stage.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
that'd be interesting. All right, that's it for now. Next week, we are lucky to be joined by a special guest, Michael. You want to introduce and sort of just give you a little bit of an intro into Beck and what she does, because she's coming along to join us next week. So looking forward to that, guys. This will be a good one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Beck is an amazing marketing consultant. She has been rocking the marketing world for a couple of decades. At this, God, I hope I haven't aged her a little bit. Let's let's say the last 15 years. She's incredible. She has become an extension of my team, and we're currently in the process of launching a really big project that we're looking to sort of like revolutionize some areas, and she's a part of that. And anyone that is struggling with marketing strategy or understanding how everything comes together, come listen, because her and I were on a call with one of my clients earlier this week, and just watching her work is just so incredible to be a part of it. So cool. So don't miss out.
Beck from, what's the name of her company? Dear Marketing.
Oh, so that her podcast is Marketing Espresso.
Yeah.
So she runs under her name now, Beck Chappell.
So she'll be joining us. She's a marketing strategist extraordinaire, and probably 15 years younger than you just made her out, because she does not look like she's been in the game that long, right? She's incredible. All right, team, if you've got any questions or comments around in-person and network marketing or event marketing, drop them below. If you would like to know more about marketing strategy from the top end down and looking at the whole picture, join us next week with Beck, because she is incredible. If you'd like to be on the Social Butterfly with us, just let either one of us know and we will make that happen. Otherwise, have a wonderful week out there. Michael, get well. All right.
Yeah,
I know you're well on the way to do that. And that's it, team. See you out there. Have a good one.